I know you guys hear that. God damn. Shit's loud even for me.
Hey everyone, Juan here, and today in this video I wanted to go over how e-commerce allowed me to buy a brand new BMW M4. Now, before I get a lot of hate on this video, a lot of you guys saying, oh, I'm just trying to show off or brag or any of these things, I wanted to let you guys know up front that I'm just making this video to show you guys what's truly possible. To kind of give you guys a little bit about my story and some insight, I got started in e-commerce a few years back, and for me, e-commerce was just an experiment. This is back when I was actually doing door-to-door sales. For those of you guys that don't know what door-to-door sales is, it's like probably the most brutal kind of sales that you can do, right? Literally going onto people's houses trying to sell them solar, which at the time, that's when like solar was like brand new to people. So it was the most difficult job I've probably ever had, but I'm super grateful to have had that job because everything that I've learned from sales, I've been able to use in my life up to date. While I was going door to door, I saw an article of like these guys that again, we're selling like these fidget spinners and we're making an absolute killing online. So like, that's when I took a step back and I thought to myself, well, what do these guys know that I don't? They can't be that much smarter than me. So what I would start doing is every single day after going door to door for 6 to 8 hours, I would then take some time to go into like a Panera Bread or Starbucks, and I would start going through learning about e-commerce, right? Learning how I can sell things online. But before that, actually, now thinking back, in 2014, I had actually tried e-commerce at that time too, but I didn't dive into it like I did this time, right? I tried it out. I started going through some kind of training program that was teaching all about e-commerce. This is when it wasn't as common, like people were not talking about dropshipping at this time back in 2014. But at this point in time, this is the first time that I had actually tried to, start an online business, and I had nobody else that I knew personally that ran an online business, anyone that I could ask questions to or get feedback on. So at that point in time, like I tried the training program, but like 2 weeks in, as soon as I realized that it was too hard and I had to learn this thing called Facebook ads, I'm like, nah, there's no way I can do that. I don't have the time. I was actually still in high school, actually going on to college. Just thinking back to that was actually kind of insane because I actually gave up so fast. It's kind of embarrassing to even share with you guys, but I did. At that point in time, I definitely did not think I could do it, and I gave it up. Like probably 3 weeks to a month in after I tried it, gave up. Back when I was doing door-to-door, I decided to try it out as an experiment. So what I did is I would go after my job, after working my job full day, and I would go into a Panera Bread and I would start just going through. Literally as I'm learning how to set up a store, I would start implementing. I would have my laptop split up into a split screen and I'm literally going and implementing as I'm learning. So I was able to make progress, and I would say like 1.5 weeks to 2 weeks, I was able to whip up a store, right? Obviously, I didn't know what I was doing, but I put together some store that I thought could work. My business partner, I know he had already had some experience with Facebook ads. I'm like, yo, I got this store put together. I know that you guys are making a killing in e-commerce. Like, you've probably heard of these guys. Why don't we give this thing a try? So he's like, okay, cool, tried it out. Of course, some of you guys already know my story. My first store was a complete fail, so I didn't get any results in that first store. Then from there, we tried out another store, a second store, and we actually got a few sales from that store. It wasn't anything crazy, just like a few sales here and there. But it wasn't until our third store where we were able to find a winning product actually, and we were able to go from, literally zero, just getting started in e-commerce, to doing over like 250K our second month into e-commerce. That was obviously like an incredible experience, and there was a lot to learn about throughout that time period. But fast forward now, a few years later, like we've been in this space for some time now, and there's a lot that we've learned up to date. Now, that just goes to show like the power of actually sticking with something all the way through, because I probably could have gotten these results, or even if I didn't get as good of results as we did with our first successful store, if I would have just gotten 1/10 of the results when I first tried out e-commerce a few years back before that, I could have been doing pretty decent for myself, right? But because I didn't stick through it, I didn't give it enough time to make it work, I didn't spend enough time actually trying to figure it out, I didn't really commit to it all the way, I wasn't able to get those results, and that's why I easily gave up. And so I see a lot of people in the space that they want to come in, they want to actually see the results that they can possibly get with e-commerce, but they don't give it enough time, they don't try to actually make it work, they don't take it seriously, they don't commit, they're like trying to juggle 4 different businesses at the same time, and doing those things will keep you guys back from getting the results you want. So I wanted to make this video to show you guys what's possible right now. Fast forward up to date, now we've gotten a little bit more advanced. Some of you guys know that when we first got started with that first initial store, we got started using the dropshipping model, which is great because even at that time, it was like a great time to get started. Now, dropshipping obviously I feel like will always be around, but as far as the sustainability of like a dropshipping store, it is becoming a lot harder to sustain a store that's only dropshipping all the time. And the reason why is because dropshipping isn't too much into the customer's favor, right? Obviously, you get to collect the sale first and the profit first, and then once someone buys from you, then purchase the product. But then the customer, who's actually the one that funds the business, they actually have to wait 2 to 3 weeks to receive their product. Some of you guys already know some of my previous videos. I talk about how you should only use the dropshipping model to get started in e-commerce, but I think once you find a product that sells really well for you and you find an audience for, you should then transition onto building a brand around that store and that product. And the reason why, again, is because when you go from focusing on a business that's in your favor all the way, because using the dropshipping model is completely in our favor, right? We have no risk, we have no inventory. It's basically risk-free on our end, but the customer actually has some risk. So when that shifts, that's when your business also shifts, right? So for us now, what we focus on is specifically getting started with e-commerce, using the dropshipping model just to test a product to make sure that there's actually a demand for the product. But then as soon as we find a winning product, we start building a brand. So some of you guys may have heard the last micro brand, or the micro brand that we were actually working on now, we were able to take 0 to over 150,000 in less than 28 days. We were actually able to get those kind of results, by building a brand around a specific product, right? It's been a complete game changer to see, because e-commerce is definitely evolving. It's not staying the same. Like I personally think that if you only come into the e-commerce space only using the dropship model, like yeah, you can obviously make, you can get results, you can make 10K, 20, whatever you want, you can make a month. I know people that are still making a killing coming in specifically just drop shipping, but the thing is the sustainability of it, that's the only hiccup. Whenever you go into any opportunity, you want to use your main motivating factor to lead you through actually sticking with the opportunity and making that opportunity work. And so for me, my main motivating factor in e-commerce, actually make it work and get results, is thinking about how I could use e-commerce and then actually buy me a car that I like, right? Now, for some of you guys, you may be motivated by a house. You may be motivated by materialistic things like maybe a watch, like you want a Rolex, or you just like expensive clothes, whatever the case may be. Some of you guys may be like me. You would be motivated by cars, right? I've been into cars since I was, ever since I seen Too Fast, Too Furious, the movie.